This is Bloomberg West. I'm Emily Chang. A mixed earnings report today from AOL. The company saying first quarter profit tumbled 86% as declining subscription sales overshadowed its first gain in display advertising in 3 years. Earlier today, I spoke with AOL CEO Tim Armstrong. I began by asking him how he's convincing investors his turnaround strategy is on the right track.
I think, first and foremost, we're really betting the company on where the internet's going. And so I think as an investor, if you're a long-term investor and you believe in the internet and you look at our strategy, I think that is the best way for investors to, really decide whether or not AOL should fit in their portfolio. I'm a personal investor, in the company. I've put over $20 million myself personally in the company in the last year. And I feel very strongly that our strategy, the brand, and what we're investing in is going to have a big return in the future. So there's a lot of investors who are with us, and I'm sure they'll stay with us as the company becomes more successful.
You said last year that AOL was a sick patient, but today the patient is up and running. Will the patient leave the hospital, and if so, when?
Yeah, I think we're taking our first step towards that right now. A healthy patient in our minds, and I mentioned today that the patient was up and running around. It really comes down to the following things. It's really, consumer growth on our products and services because we build great services. And two, it's advertising growth. And I think you see the consumer growth side starting to happen, and then you see the advertising side, distinctly. That's really one of the main things we announced today. So, really over the last 3.5, 4 years, the first time the global display business has grown. So, the patient feels healthy. We feel much better as a business. There's a huge difference between where we were today and last year. Even yesterday and today, the only difference in the company between yesterday and today was, we beat Wall Street's expectations, and I really, hope we continue to make the company grow and go faster.
You said to Bloomberg News today you're taking a pause on acquisitions, focusing on integrating what you've already bought, like the Huffington Post and TechCrunch, but you're still going to be opportunistic. What kind of opportunities might you be looking for? First, we are starting with integration. We have a very clear vision and execution plan, and we're very focused on execution right now. If we were to do any M&A on an opportunistic basis, it would probably touch, 3 areas. One is traffic growth in terms of more unique visitors. Second would be things that help accelerate brand advertising, and three would be in the local space with our investment around Patch. But as of right now, we're very focused on execution. There's nothing currently in my radar screen that says we're going to do any major acquisitions right now, but we are going to be opportunistic about M&A going forward. In terms of that integration, you recently lost a managing editor from the Huffington Post to Yahoo. A number of employees at Engadget have left. Are you having trouble convincing employees of these acquired companies to stay?
I think, as a matter of fact, it's just the opposite. I think most employees actually are just sticking around. Actually, our turnover rate at AOL is lower than we thought it was going to be at this point. And I think there's going to be natural attrition at the company because we're changing the company so quickly. I would think on the acquisition front, I just talked to Mike Arrington yesterday, and I think for the vast majority of all the employees coming through the acquisitions, they're all here. They're all in significant roles. I think the editor leaving Huffington Post, one was more of he lived on the West Coast and worked in New York, so I think there's a lifestyle difference there. And two, it sounds like the opportunity he got, going to Yahoo is probably not something he would have gotten at AOL. And I think we want the right people doing the right roles at the company. So I'm really happy with our current base and leadership, and I think we'll add more talent as we go forward.
Manage the big personalities of people like Michael Arrington, the founder of TechCrunch, and Arianna Huffington?
Yeah, most people who are really successful, tend to have a very driven passion, and I think, my job at AOL is to get them in a position where we can accelerate that passion. So both with Arianna and Michael, and we have a bunch of other really well-known entrepreneurs at AOL. I'm a former entrepreneur myself and continue to do entrepreneurial things, so I understand what drives them, I understand what drives me, and I think my main responsibility is to make them really successful and make sure their vision gets out to a much broader audience and they make more money doing it. So I think we'll be really successful and have been successful at that formula.
With the campaign season coming up, how do you think Arianna's role as a political pundit is going to impact AOL? Will it help or will it hurt?
I think first and foremost, Ariana at our company, at least, and I think her persona in the world has kind of moved beyond just being a political pundit. I think she's one of the best content people in the world, and she's very talented at it. So I think, she'll probably play some role in terms of covering the elections, and I think she's passionate about most things in life, economics, elections, everything across the board, lifestyle. So I'm sure we'll play a role in it, and she'll play a role in it. I think what we're planning on doing for the election cycle is to actually be the first company to cover it globally, nationally, and locally. And we have some exciting ideas about how to do that, and Ariana's working on those. But I think it's from a third-party standpoint. It's not really from a political standpoint. It's from what the politicians are going to be doing affect things like the debt crisis and other things, in this country that are really important. And she's excited about it. I'm personally excited about it, and I think it'll be a big boost for our business.
You recently laid off 900 people, but you are hiring in some places. What kind of talent is AOL looking for today versus a year ago?
Yeah, so as we change the company to focus on where the internet's going, and it requires us, where we can't convert people's skills to change the employee base, and that's one of the reasons you see us making changes about where we're hiring and what we're hiring. The skill sets we're looking for at AOL are pretty simple. One is we're looking for the most passionate and creative people in the world to come work in the areas that we're focused on. Two is we want people to be of the internet, people who understand digital media and understand the internet and where it's going. And the third thing is to have real, expertise in terms of working in teams. I think, our environment we're building at AOL is a company which is probably what a lot of companies are going to look like in the future, which is very driven people, very high level of creativity, and very team-focused environment and team-focused results.
Do you see the need for more layoffs in the future?
Not right now. I think we've done a very good job of managing the cost basis. The cost basis is significantly down from when I started, and we've been able to remove hundreds of millions of dollars of cost. I think we'll always have to tweak our structure and cost structure as we go forward, but I think we're much more focused on growth now, and really how do we accelerate the company from where we are today to become a real growth company. So we're less focused as we were in the first year in terms of cost management, structure, and financial management into really what I would consider a consumer products company, and that's really what our focus is.
You're transitioning from an internet access company to a content company. Could AOL become attractive to a company like, for example, Google, that wants to become a bigger player in the content business?
Yeah, I think from an investment standpoint, we're planning on going in alone and really continuing to build our company out. I do think our strategy, fits. If you look at the landscape of media companies and technology or internet companies, there's a lot of companies that have been growing quickly that have lots of cash and are kind of trying to get more aligned with the strategy we already have and been executing on. So I'm sure from an attractiveness standpoint, AOL is an attractive company for many companies, to look at. But that being said, for our shareholders, we have a very low valuation compared to we're number 5 in the internet space. The 4 companies in front of us have 10 to 15x or so valuations. So for us, for our shareholders, the only thing we'd ever do is actually focus on what's going to get the best shareholder return over a long period of time. And right now, that seems to be organically growing our business and something we're really excited about.
That was AOL CEO Tim Armstrong talking about his turnaround strategy for the company.